Is it just me? Or are people just fucking mean nowadays? Like, you could be doing the most innocent thing. Like, I swear to God, you could post a video of you, like, picking strawberries, and people will find a way to fucking be rude about it. And it's like, for what? Why? Why is it suddenly the cool thing for us to be rude to each other? I don't understand where we get the audacity. Why do we feel entitled to share our opinion, first of all, when it's not asked for, but also in such a rude way? Like, you could scroll on Instagram, like, you could literally right now open Instagram, scroll down reels, open the comment section on a random reel, and I guarantee you it's almost always hateful. And it could be the most innocent or sweet reel ever. It could be someone, like, baking a fucking cinnamon roll, and then all of a sudden there's comments telling them to start an OnlyFans, and it's just like, why? Why? Just why? Like, why do y'all act like that? Now let me cook. Actually, I'm gonna answer my own question. I feel like you guys act like that. Not you guys, like, just people act like that. Because it's just, we aren't groomed to have empathy for each other. There are certain groups in society that are allowed to get more empathy than others. Like, I think empathy is selective, and I think that it has a bit of a spectrum. And I think there's a sweet spot, because if you go too far into perfection, then the empathy dwindles. But if you're too unfortunate in society's eyes, empathy will also dwindle. You have to be in that sweet spot just to deserve empathy. Even classism. If you're poor, people will say it's your fault. They'll give you no empathy. If you're rich, you suddenly can't have mental health issues, you can't have life struggles, people will invalidate your issues. You would have to be middle class to deserve empathy that those two ends of the spectrum don't get. But it's like, why is our empathy selective? Why are we groomed to be that way? Because there's a million facets of society where empathy is selective. You think about men and women. Women are allowed to have emotions, but then all of a sudden we're not allowed to really do anything else without criticism. And then men, it's the opposite. They're allowed to do everything without criticism, but they're not allowed to have emotions. Neither of those ends are healthy. It's different empathy, but neither is complete. It's incomplete empathy. And I truly think that we as a society are way too apathetic towards each other. I think that we've really taken in the hierarchy that society puts in place. Like, it puts certain groups of people on top, it puts other people on bottom. And we'll mimic that with our empathy. People who are given more societal privilege and praise will get more empathy than someone who is deemed less favorable by society. But we all know that there's so many reasons you can be deemed unfavorable by society, and a lot of them aren't in your control. You don't control who you were born as, you don't control your skin color, gender, your sexuality. You don't control those things. Yet society will just dehumanize you for them. Like, there's certain people in society who get the privilege of fully being seen as a human, and then there's other people who aren't really seen as humans at all. And whoever society tells us is important gets more empathy. Whoever society says is unimportant gets less empathy. But at the end of the day, why are we ranking human beings? Why are we categorizing which human beings deserve more empathy than others? Why can't it just be the same? Because we can all empathize for Ukraine because we're taught that white people deserve empathy. But society has had a harder time empathizing with Palestine and Congo because those are black and brown children, which society has not taught us to empathize. They've taught us, the Middle East is always at war, they're just fucked up. But the thing is, they're human beings, and that's not an accurate narrative. Most of the wars were fucking started by fucking Western countries anyway. We're setting them up and then painting a narrative about them. It's a sham. It's a sham. The whole narrative of dehumanizing other people all stems from lies. So why are we buying it, and why are we not holding the same empathy for all humans? Like, it's not the cool new thing not to care about people. If you do not care about your fellow human beings, there is something cognitively wrong with you. That is not how a human brain should healthily function. The whole reason we aren't being eaten by lions and fucked up by bears is because we had empathy. We bonded with each other, we became herd animals, we started villages, we would hunt in groups, we care about each other. That's how humans survived. It's our biological evolution for us to have empathy. Apathy is so unnatural, yet society is trying to normalize it. It's not normal. Just because it's common doesn't mean it's normal. It's not how a healthy human should function. That's not acceptable behavior. But the thing is, society only grooms us to be selfish. It says, oh, my career, my money, my house, me. But the thing is, we're a community. Everything in society exists because all of us exist as a part of it. If you were the sole survivor in the world, you'd pass away. You wouldn't live for more than, like, maybe, if you're lucky, a few months. Like, we need each other. Like, the general public needs to learn how to have some fucking respect for their fellow human beings. There is no reason you should be bullying a stranger because they're passing you on the street as a guy who's wearing pink and maybe some lipstick. There's no reason you should stop that guy and threaten him and ruin his fucking day. Like, for what? For what? Did that get you a promotion? Like, what did you get out of that? Nothing. There's no reason to be apathetic. Why can't you just understand that humans who think differently and live differently coexist with you? And you can't really force people to change into someone they're not. I think that's a big thing. We feel entitled to change everybody else to fit our worldview, when that's not the accurate narrative. We're one person out of 8 billion. We're not that special. What gives you the right to fucking dictate how someone else lives their life? You're not all that in a bag of chips. The fuck? Like, look at you. Loud as fuck and a loser. Go home. Like, but that's the thing. You can't change everybody. You in your brain might feel entitled enough to try and make people bend to your will, but that's not reality. That's not what people are going to do, and that's not how you should treat other people. That's unacceptable. I think it's a better place to start if you learn to cope with the reality that you are going to share the world with people who are not like-minded to you. If you can swallow that pill, then you'll feel less need to disrespect them and to be threatening and unkind. And when you're no longer so on the offense, you can just observe people as they are and kind of start to understand them and understand how other people live, and that people don't exist solely to harm you. Like, a gay man walking down the street is not doing that to ruin your day. He's doing that because he's gay and he wants to go for a fucking walk. Like, he's not asking you to be gay too. He's not asking you to pull up to a fucking orgy. He's just asking you not to fucking harass him while he goes for his fucking walk. Is that so much to ask for? If you are so intolerable and unable to show empathy for your fellow human beings to the extent where you will go out of your way to harass them, you need psychological help. That's not a normal way to behave. That is not an acceptable or normal way to behave and conduct yourself. If that's how you behave, you should be fucking ashamed of yourself. Like, we can't have a fun society because some loud-ass bozos want to control how everybody else acts. You can only control how you act. It's a tough skill to learn, but every single human needs to learn that they cannot control every aspect of every life. You can control your own life to some extent, but you can't control other people's lives. What other people do is separate from you. You can control you and how you behave and how you choose to live your life, but it's unacceptable to overstep your boundary and choose how someone else lives their life. Like, empathy is such a beautiful thing. Understanding the lives and emotions of human beings who aren't you is such a useful skill to have. You don't need to mimic their emotions, you don't need to present in the same way that they do in their lives, but you should understand other people because they're your fellow human beings that create the world that you live in. You should understand the people around you because at the end of the day, we all need each other. Humans are herd animals. We're social creatures. We need a community. We need our herd. Our herd is each other. There's no reason to disrespect each other and hate crime each other and be terrible to each other. If you do not possess empathy for people who do not have the same lifestyle as you, that's not normal. That's not acceptable. You should learn, even if that's where you're at right now, I'm not gonna hate on you so long as you are willing to learn to grow that empathy, because empathy can be a skill and it can be learned. Personally, when I was a teenager, I wasn't too empathetic, but I've been in therapy since I was 15 now, so I learned to be empathetic. It was a skill for me. It wasn't natural. It was natural, and then it became unnatural, and then it became natural again. Listen, girl, your journey doesn't have to look like my journey with empathy. But at the end of the day, you should have a journey with empathy. We should all strive to be more empathetic and more caring to our fellow human beings because it makes life more interesting. If you can understand the brain of somebody who's opposite of you, that's a cool skill, is it not? Because I think people get violent and hateful because we don't understand each other, but the thing is, there's always a way to understand each other. That doesn't mean you have to change your moral set, because the thing is, just because I have to coexist with someone doesn't mean I have to surround myself with them all the time. Like, I think that everybody should have at least bare minimum empathy for every person. Like, if you lack empathy to the point where you are going to attack somebody, and if you're going to verbally harass and bully people, that's not acceptable. That's loser behavior. That's emotionally undeveloped behavior. That's not acceptable. Grow the fuck up. Seriously, like, if you don't possess the empathy currently, that doesn't mean you can't become somebody who possesses the empathy, because I believe as above, so below. So, for as much capacity that you have to be apathetic, you have the same capacity to be empathetic. You just have to choose to be that person, which we can all do. You know, sometimes when push comes to shove, it becomes a choice to be a good person, but, like, we can all do it. Yeah, you can do it. Come on. Come on, you can do it. Can't we all? But that's all for today, and I wanted to thank you guys for 100 subscribers. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and I hope everybody has a great and wonderful day, and bye.